everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am using sequins from Spiegelmom Scraps. You saw me use, it was called Bursting Sun Rays and Ride the Tide. And this cut file is from a freebie from the Hip Kip Club. It was 6x6 square, but I repeated it to make it a 12x12 cutout, and it's very linear and geometric, and I kind of love it. And then you saw me use the Amy Tangerine Sunshine and Good Vibes or Good Times paper pad. I am going to back, in essence, like the top row and the bottom row of this cut file, and then leave the middle kind of white on white with the cut file and use those two photos. They were from Valentina's actual birthday this past year. She turned 1 year old, and we happened to be at my parents' house for Thanksgiving, and the next day or 2 days after Thanksgiving is her birthday, and so it worked out very nice. And so we were wearing a lot of blue, and that was what I considered when picking papers. I wanted to go with the blue and yellow, but the paper pad definitely was rainbow, and I'm not going to stop the rainbow colors from occurring, so I went with it. And because of the cut file still like tones it down because there is so much white, it worked out just really well. That's Valentina. She's jibber jabbering over here. So yeah, so I did the bottom row, or what I thought was going to be the bottom row first, and it turns out that this cut file does not actually repeat perfectly. So these were like one row of lines smaller than the top row, so the top becomes, you know, my bottom half in essence, just so that the weight is at the bottom of the layout and not at the top. So while I thought this was going to be the bottom, it switches, and you'll see that shortly. So when I was picking out paper pads, I wanted to make sure I almost had like a color, then like a white base, and then a color, and then like a white base. And that kind of, in my eyes, weighs it a little bit better and more pleasing to the eye, instead of if it was just color, 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 color. So I do take the time and do this, and my favorite papers in this collection are also the ones that have like this holographic foil / gold foil throughout it. And so that if you saw that floral and those rainbows are the ones that have it. And this paper pad, if I ever come across it in 12x12, I need it. I don't know if this collection is still out. I know it's a pretty older one, and this paper pad I got from Tuesday Morning, I want to say. I could be wrong on that, but you know, we'll go with it. So here I am now doing the bottom, and this is when I was saying about how the bottom and the top do not repeat, because it's actually one layer thicker than the other, and so I had to recut everything and not just use the template from the above line, which is fine. So you'll see me play around as well with the positioning of my pictures, because I thought I would stagger them, or I thought I would have them stacked like on a vertical layout. But in the end, situating them when they are in literally a line of horizontal line across the page works out the best for this placement as well. So that is where I do end up keeping them, and what I do is just mount them on white cardstock so that there's a slight border, but that they act like one unit. And I'm just using my ATG gun to, on the edge, just to lay down my cut file. I don't do any of the glue in all the middle lines. I find that it didn't need it because it's so flat regardless. And this actually does stay a rather flat layout for me, because I have been getting a little fun with all the fun foam and things like that to give the layouts a little bit more depth. Oh yeah, Mama. So here I go, starting to put Ride the Tide. I use Ride the Tide mostly on the bottom, which is this blue iridescent set, and I choose random lines to kind of situate them, and they are just simply stacked in a row. So it doesn't cover all the pattern paper. I do choose like 2 to 3 lines per graphics square to kind of showcase the sequence. And I took the time, as you saw, like with my fingers, because my fingers, you know, are always a little fat to get them so specific. I tried tweezers, but I'm definitely not a tweezer friendly person. Like, I just felt like it was even more of a struggle to use tweezers with this. And in my fine liner is Scotch Tacky Glue / quick dry glue. It's what I use the most, and I continue just to fill this bottle up with the same glue. So the top part, I do go ahead and use Bursting Sun Rays. This one is more like a blue and a yellow pack, and I wanted to show more of the yellow sequence up top, but I do go in with blue as well, because I just love the blue coloring, and it works for this layout. So I just finished up doing all of that, and I think I let it dry overnight before I add on the rest, and that's why a little bit of whatever I finished off with is missing, because once this was finished, I went through my stash a little bit and pulled a few butterflies from Vicky Budin to put on my layout, and I chose a title from an Amy Tangerine Better Together thicker stack, and then that would finish it off because I didn't need much embellishing after I was done with this. The sequins and the layout did enough. And here are the close-ups. Thank you for joining me. Till next time. Bye.